I suppose I owe a little bit of explanation here. In late 2010, after I finished my review of the, was it the Ground Gosei Great, that was it. I was done reviewing Goseiger toys. I wrote to Josh Bernard, who's the creator and owner of CollectionDX.com, and I said, I'm done. I'm done with Goseiger. Don't ask me to do any more. No, I'm not, because Gosei Ultimate had already come out at that point, because it was towards the end of the year. So there is no way I'm going to get Ultimate Gosei Great put together. That is not happening. Because it essentially does what Hyper Gosei Great does, and that is it just slaps something on the back and then, oh look, it holds a weapon. It doesn't even stand on top of the thing. On top of which, I wasn't really that impressed with Ground Gosei Great. It had presence, but it was boring because it didn't transform. There was a lot of part swapping involved, and I did transform a thing a couple of times in that one video alone. How boring is it that I have to pull that out twice in the same video? Good God. So I told Josh B, I was like, I'm done. Don't ask me to do any more Goseiger. Gokaiger was coming up because it had already been announced at that point. I was like, oh, okay, sure, that looks interesting because look at all this stuff it's doing right that Goseiger did wrong. And even though the Gokaiyo doesn't transform very much, look at the homages to previous Super Sentai that they're slipping in there. Holy shit, that was neat. Yes, I will be reviewing that. But in terms of Goseiger, no, I was done. I want to say about maybe 3 or 4 months into 2011, I sold my DX Gosei Great, Tensou, Gosei Ground, and Skyke Brothers. The only thing that I still have left over from 2010 when I originally reviewed it is this Gosei Blaster. This is the only thing that survived my original reviews in 2010. And these are the original batteries from 2010. I still frickin' love this thing, mostly because I view it out of context when it comes to Goseiger. It very much doesn't fit the style, it doesn't really fit the appearance, and it doesn't really fit the function, aside from, you know, attaching the headers and then something cool pops up. Just as a role-play toy, this is pretty doggone neat, and I do promote this every chance I get. There are very few bad marks that happened about this thing, and so this was the only thing that I saved from Tensou Sentai Goseiger. This is the only thing that I, this was a surprise hit. Like, I didn't expect to like this. And then I did like it, and so, you know, here it is, I still have it. So, that was safe. That stayed on the shelf for many years. I had briefly considered keeping the Skyke Brothers and the guy down here, and I'd also briefly considered getting the Mystic Brothers just by themselves, but not having Gosei Ground, not having Gosei Great, and not having the Tensou. But kind of my justification for getting this was gone. Once Gosei Great had disappeared, there's no real reason to have one of these, and I've just spent how long, you know, explaining that. And the same thing with Datus Hyper. I had no use for Datus Hyper if I didn't have Gosei Great, and really I wasn't entirely thrilled with Datus Hyper back in the day. So I was very much relieved that I could just mentally block out Goseiger and never have to think about it ever again. Much in the same way that all Power Ranger fans did when Power Rangers Megaforce and Super Megaforce came along. It's one of those bastard stepchilds. You just want you want it to go away and be unborn. That's how badly you want to get those burning images out of your mind. Okay, that's how disgusted I was with Goseiger. Okay, I was done. And my faith in Super Sentai since Goseiger left the airwaves has been shaken quite a bit. I've completely skipped entire toy lines, entire mecha lines, and just I won't have anything to do with some of them. There were some toys here and there I got that were interesting, but since 2010 there's been a lot of disappointment floating around. But I couldn't help but think of how simple Gosei Tiger is with that one step. Bam! Done. That just, and it was Gosei Tiger and Gosei Phoenix that looks absolutely nothing like a bird. It doesn't look like a jet. It doesn't look like anything, even though the head is nicely detailed. And thank God I had not purchased the Siak brothers, because they were just atrocious looking and didn't really just there were so many things about the headers, the actual physical heads, that just pissed me off so badly. I couldn't get away from it. Yes, it is a toy line that is made for children in a different country. Okay, fine, I get that. On the other hand, I happen to be a connoisseur of toys for children from this other country, in case you haven't noticed. And the standards that I had witnessed for many years before and after Goseiger told me that this thing was and is a piece of okay? Even as I'm recording this in 2018, I'm still not happy with it. Well, why'd you put so much money into it? Why'd you spend almost $200 getting all this stuff if you don't like it? Well, because a nightmare came true. In 2010, for my closing thoughts for the DX Gosei Great, I said this. I feel like swapping heads and block formers is as simple as you can get a transformer. You can't even call this a transformer. It's a combiner it's a block former. It's a parts former. It's anything except this. And I don't mean to sound melodramatic, but I'm really, really concerned that this is going to become part of the legacy of Super Sentai, and that this is the future. What's it going to be like in 2011 for the 35th anniversary Super Sentai series, which hasn't obviously been named yet and won't be for months to come? Is it just going to be a block of plastic, you stick it on there, and that's it? I mean, you're just going to dispense with this? And at the time that I said it, I was grasping at straws, and I said, there is no possible way it could ever get any worse than this. The only way it could get worse, if it was a literal, just a solid clump of plastic that did not move, did not change, did not connect, didn't do anything. It just sat there. And that, to me, was the future of Super Sentai after Tensou Sentai Goseiger. Imagine my horror when the 40th anniversary of Super Sentai came along and literally gave us that. A solid chunk of plastic. There is no transformation here. One mode, the other mode. You never change anything about this ever again. My nightmare, ladies and gentlemen, my hypothetical scenario, I can't reach it, actually came true in 2016. I couldn't believe it. I was just how? For the 40th, was that right, 2016? Yeah. For the 40th anniversary, they literally sank lower. They sank lower. They actually beat what I thought at the time was the low point of the franchise. Aside from the original, can't even really call it DX-sized Battle Fever Robo back in 1975, which was long before I was born, that could not transform, but at least it was interesting. It was engaging. It kicked off everything that came off afterwards. But this was disappointing on so many levels. It just over royally that I'm actually having trouble keeping it PG-13 right now, folks. I'll tell you that. I'm so pissed. I am royally pissed about what Goseiger brought to the line. I really am. There is Okay, now I'm saying it. Here it is. I originally said it in 2010 with these guys. Now I'm saying it in getting on towards the end of summer 2018 when I'm recording this. This is the new low point. This is the low point. It cannot, fingers crossed, it cannot get any worse than this. This right here. By the way, you call that a sword? Really? Let me show you something. Really? Plex? Bandai? Really? For as terrible as this thing is, really? That's your main weapon. Really? That's your... Really? Really? What was the justification for that? And even the accessory mecha from Goseiger have exclamation points to tell you how bad this is going to get. 1, 2, 3. It looks like a giraffe, but would you like to know how it moves in the show? It doesn't have legs. It does this. When it's walking around in the show, it does this. It doesn't have individual legs. On the screen, it is a block. I don't care how simple the transformation is to its combined or to its accessory mode. Okay. And oh, by the way, you want to talk about bad engineering? That's not attached there very well. So, for as much as I disliked this in 2010, when I reached correction, when Bandai, Plex, and Toei reached this point right here, all of a sudden, that didn't look as bad. At that point, in summer 2017, on a whim, I don't remember exactly what triggered it. I was just watching a random YouTube video, and I had this notion in my head, like, oh, that's kind of, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Well, wait a minute, Wava. Wait a minute. You badmouthed the hell out of this thing in 2010. There's no way on God's green earth you're going to go back on your word. I mean, look what you did with the Mogyu Daio and the Daikaio from Shinkenger the previous year. Actually, those two were recorded after I got rid of this. But in any event, I had to justify it to myself. What on earth this very, very bizarre feeling was in my brain. I didn't quite understand it. It might have been the high-functioning autism talking. Fair enough. But that being said, something told me, take a second look. Reanalyze it. It's a child's toy, for Christ's sake, Give it another shot. See what happens. Well, here it is. It's been 1 year since I got this. And I don't ultimately regret getting it because, like I said, I put almost 200... By the way, as I mentioned at the beginning of this conclusion thingy here, I sold all of these things originally. I had to and I got them as free samplers from... I think all of that stuff, including this, came from HobbyLink Japan back in the day. I think they were all free samplers, something along those lines. They were all free samplers, I do know that, regardless of which website we got them from. The point is, they were free. And, that's standard affair with toy review sites such as CollectionDX.com. Many of the things that I reviewed in the past are free samplers. So it was mine to do with as I see fit after the review was done, after the promotion was done. Get out of here. Go away. Shoot. Get. So what you're seeing here, including that, is my commitment, is my money that I spent. So, like, do I regret getting rid of them originally back in 2010? No, I don't, because I couldn't get over myself, and I couldn't get over the disaster that was Bandai, Plex, and Toei back in 2010. Okay, so I don't regret getting rid of them the first time. Do I regret it now that I had to repurchase all of these things? No, because they probably would have been put back in the boxes and I wouldn't have looked at them. So what you see here is the culmination of 8 years of reducing to simmer and getting new perspectives and seeing far, far worse things come along. So, no, it's not necessarily that I went back on my word from 2010. No, that's not the case. It's just it took time to heal this particular wound, and I don't regret what I did in the past, and as of this recording, I don't regret getting them now. As a matter of fact, as I was recollecting these, because it took me about, 3 or 4 months to collect all of this again a second time, and then, add this and the Seik and Landic brothers and stuff like that, and Data Hyper. As I was reassembling this thing for the first time ever, which sounds really strange, I had been watching Goseiger. In fact, it probably was because I was watching Goseiger just to give it a shot. Give it a fair shot. Give it a second look. That maybe that was the catalyst that said, oh, maybe you should take a look at actually owning the toys. Maybe that's what it was. But anyways, this is everything I have from Goseiger currently, and it's been a little over a year, and I still kind of want the, what's it called, the Skyke Blaster and the Land Sea Buster. Something like that. I'm still debating getting that, even a year later. I haven't quite made up my mind because I don't have a Tensou, so the cards would be wasted on me, even though all the cards say exactly the same thing, regardless of which one it is. And the toys are very small, and they actually don't fit me nearly as well as this thing does. I'm just saying. This thing is awesome, by the way. Do get the Gosei Blaster. This is great. I have reconsidered getting it, but I haven't quite brought myself to actually get it. Maybe sometime in the future I'll get one. Maybe not. I haven't really decided at this point. But for the time being, this is as far as I'm planning on going. No, I am not going to get Gosei Ground again, and no, I am not going to be getting Gosei Ultimate in the future. Gosei Ultimate transforms. I can't believe it. Gosei Ultimate does transform, but the problem with it is it looks awful in both modes, and its combined forms just aren't anything worth mentioning. Except that they suck really, really hard. They suck worse than this thing does, and considering what a cluster Megazord this is, yeah, I'm not getting Gosei Ultimate. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put myself through that. Besides, I'm running out of shelf space right now, so So, yeah, that is what has brought me to this point. And I think it's safe to say, at this point, I am done with Tensou Sentai Goseiger, or at least with its toy line. And so with that, this is Abe Unit for CollectionDX.com, signing off.